birds rejected it, the turtles accepted it, but the most popular version is by a fellow named Barry McGuire. Today's relaxed selection is one of the first protest songs in the mid-60s, written by P.F. Sloan, The Eve of Destruction. You know, I once went to the local roller rink when I was younger, much younger, and they decided in '65 to have an Eve of Destruction marathon. So we roller skated for 12 hours to the Eve of Destruction, which played continuously for 12 hours while I've recovered. At the time, I kind of thought, if I ever hear this song again, it'll be too soon. But it is a wonderful tune. And although the locations and the technology have changed, the message hasn't. Barry McGuire is now a contemporary Christian artist, and he refused to play the song for quite some time. But now he plays it and substitutes lyrics regarding Columbine, for example, instead of Selma, Alabama. So the message is still clear, important, and we have this as a classic, relaxed song. Here's 1965's The Eve of Destruction. All right, let's get started on a really great acoustic version of Eve of Destruction. An Eve of Destruction is based around 4 primary chords, and right off the top, they are an open D chord. You will need an open G chord, an open A chord, and you'll need a B minor bar chord. Now we will talk about little connectors, like there's a little connector between the D and the B minor chord at one point that we can work on. And I should also let you know that as a variation to the open D chord, we're also going to need 2 other D chords, a D sus4, and the way that's made is by taking the D chord, flattening out your 3rd finger so that it covers the 3rd fret of the 1st string. And that's a D sus4. Back to the D, and then if we lift our 2nd finger off altogether, off the 1st string, it's a D sus2. And that intro, that very catchy intro to Eve of Destruction, is played by shuttling through a D sus4, a D sus2, like this. So we'll get to that intro in just a moment here. There is also a couple of the chord charts on the internet also show an A7, like Eastern World, it is exploding. They show an A7 there, and we may throw that in. So just to live on the edge here a little bit, we'll throw in an A7 chord, which I play with my 1st finger on the 4th string 2nd fret and my 2nd finger on the 2nd string 2nd fret. 3rd string is open. Okay, so just to review again, open D with a D sus4 and a D sus2, open G, A7, and B minor bar chord. All right, let's talk about that intro. All right, Eve of Destruction begins with kind of a doomsday-sounding double timpani hit. Boom, 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 boom. And on the 3rd one, 3rd boom, boom, that's where we come in with that D chord strumming. Boom, 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 boom. Let's slow that down and see what we're doing there. And the right hand. Okay, and that takes us into the opening line of the song. All right, let's talk about the organization of Eve of Destruction as a song. And there are 4 verses of a particular length. The first 2 are of the same length. The 3rd and 4th verses are also of the same length, but longer than the first 2. Each verse is followed by a chorus. The strumming I'm going to suggest is a little bit different for verse and chorus, so let's tackle those one at a time. And first off, let's talk about the strumming for the verse. The Eastern world, it is exploding. Okay, so that's what I'm suggesting. If we take a look at the right hand, and we'll go nice and slowly here, you'll see that there are 3 upstrokes. There's a couple of kind of downs, and then 3 ups, and then 2 sets of 2 downs, like this. So go over that a few times. Notice that I'm also, if we go back to the left hand here, I'm including the D sus4 and the D sus2 in there. Okay, having practiced that, let's do a playthrough of a verse. The Eastern world, it is exploding, violence flaring, bullets loading. You're old enough to kill, but not for voting. You don't believe in war, but what's that gun you're toting? And even the Jordan River has bodies floating, but you... All right, the chorus is much more free-flowing, more like this. But you tell me over and over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. So let's take a closer look at that. But you tell me right hand. But you tell me over and over again, my friend. Okay, so notice that we're kind of emphasizing the downstroke on the but you tell me over and over again. So the 3 overs are actually kind of emphasized downstrokes. But you tell me over and over again, my friend. That's where we go to the B minor. Okay, before we do a play through the chorus, I want to show you a couple of things. And the first is a little connecting note that connects the D chord with the B minor chord. You don't believe that part. So just to play through the chorus again. But you tell me over and over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. Okay, so that little connector is just simply, and I'm using my pinky finger there. You can move your 3rd finger and use it if you like, whatever's comfortable for you. Okay, so it goes from the D's. And all I'm doing there is reaching with my pinky a little bit and getting the 4th fret of the 5th string. It's a D flat note. D chord, D flat. That's the run. So there's the D flat, and then the B note is in the B minor chord, of course. you don't believe. Okay, now the last little thing I want to show you here is how the chorus turns around to a verse again. So at the end of what I'm about to play here, we're on the eve of destruction. It goes back to the twice through, and then there's a little harmonica thing here that comes in, and that follows G and A, so it goes back to. Don't you understand? And a new verse, the second verse. So again, it's twice through the little. Don't you understand what I'm trying to say? And into the second verse. All right, we have what we need to do a playthrough of a chorus. But you tell me over and over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. Don't you understand? All right, I just realized one little detail here, and that is the very last chorus has an extra over in it. So it goes like this. And you tell me over and over and over and over again, my friend. Okay, so tell me. So we'll remember to do that in the last chorus, won't we? All right, time for a full playthrough. Boom, 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 boom. The Eastern world, it is exploding, violence flaring, bullets loading. You're old enough to kill, but not for voting. You don't believe in war, but what's that gun you're toting? And even the Jordan River has bodies floating. But you tell me over and over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. Don't you understand what I'm trying to say? Can't you see the fear that I'm feeling today? If the button is pushed, there's no running away. There'll be no one to save with the world in a grave. Take a look around you, boy. It's bound to scare you, boy. But you tell me over and over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. Yeah, my blood's so mad, feels like coagulating. I'm sitting here just contemplating. I can't twist the truth, it knows no regulation. A handful of senators don't pass legislation, and marches alone can't bring integration. When human respect is disintegrating, this whole crazy world is just too frustrating. And you tell me over and over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. Think of all the hate there is in Red China, then take a look around to Selma, Alabama. You may leave here for 4 days in space, but when you return, it's the same old place. The pounding of the drums, the pride and disgrace. You can bury your dead, but don't leave a trace.
hate your next door neighbor, but don't forget to say grace. And you tell me over and over and over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. Ah, yeah, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction.
All right, fine tuning today. Well, we reacquainted ourselves with D sus chords, a sus2 and a sus4, and then we put them to good use by learning that little intro. Nice thing about that is it's a little bit of work dexterity-wise in terms of strumming. And speaking of strumming, different strumming for verse and chorus, so take the time to kind of work through that. I mean, you can strum it the same way all the time if you like, but when I do a lesson like this, I like to add a little bit of variety between verse and chorus, especially if the song is a little bit repetitive, like Eve of Destruction is. We also learned a little connector there, nice little connector to the only minor chord in the song. All right, Barry McGuire. Probably as, or maybe even more poignant today than it was back then. The Eve of Destruction. We'll see you next time on Songmen.